Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and it is day 7 of Bookmas. I've been having such a fun time with Bookmas, as always. I again didn't feel the greatest yesterday, but I did get quite a bit read. Not of yesterday's pick, though, but I did complete 2 more books, which is fantastic. So I'm not quite as far behind as I was. I really do want to play World of Warcraft today, so I'm hoping today's pick is something I can get the audiobook for, so I can just listen to the audiobook while I play with my husband, but we'll just have to see. I did, of course, already read today's chapter of A Heart for Christmas by Sophie Jomain. Today's chapter I wasn't a big fan of, more parental drama, and again, just the repeat conversation of, oh, you need to stop being so fearful and live your life, but then you have her mother's pressure to be extra careful. So it's just more drama, and it's not really moving forward. We're now 100 and something pages in. 100 and let's see here, 13. We're now 113 pages in, and we're still not moving forward. It's just very repetitive of, the whole conversation of she had this heart transplant, and her mother's very controlling, and wants her to be extra careful, and she does need to be careful on one hand, but then everybody else, her father and other people around her, are pressuring her to live a little and let go of the fear and such. So it's just very, very repetitive, and honestly, that extra parental drama, like, I wish she had just left it at the beginning of the story, and not brought it back in this chapter. So there's that. Like, I'm still hoping, I'm looking forward to reading it, so I'm hoping it gets better, because right now it's a letdown, and I think once it takes off it might get better. But right now I'm getting kind of sick of the repetitiveness. We did read the next section of just Christmas Eve Love Story by Jenny Baird. And this one has a Groundhog Day trope. And so she's repeating Christmas Eve over and over. So we're on the third Christmas Eve. It was a little bit better than the second Christmas Eve, but still that, is this a dream? Is this, maybe it's a reoccurring dream that I'm having and such. She's finally kind of accepting that this is happening. So I'm hoping that repetitiveness, and in the second section, day 2, it was really heavy handed as far as freaking out, but this day's happening over again, and really beating it in. Day 3 wasn't as bad, but still a little bit. And there's also something happened on day 2 that didn't happen on day 1, and then didn't happen on day 3, and I'm like, okay, and there's not really an explanation for why this randomly happened, when it's the Groundhog Day. And so, yeah, things are repeating themselves, and she's changing little things. And this one, it was there were some things she put candy canes on the tree, and the candy canes were still there with one missing. And so she's like, maybe it's a time loop with a loophole. And again, just really beating it in. We get the trope. We get what it is. Let's move along here. And so, yeah, again, early days, so I'm hoping we'll kind of take off, but we're only reading on even days, so we'll return to this tomorrow. My husband doesn't mind this one as much as I do. He doesn't like the one we're reading on hot days. So, but we'll continue on with this, kind of see where we go from there. Then we have day one's pick, which was Good Spirits by B.K. Borson. I finished this yesterday. This is what I spent the majority of the day on. I had about 150 pages left to go, and I just love this. I love Harriet and Nolan as characters. I really enjoyed them. I liked their growth. They both had growth throughout the story, especially Harriet and her character arc and her story. I really enjoyed that. I love them together. I like the Ghost of Christmas Past, and she did a really good job balancing present day and their interactions in present day with the past timelines, and going to visit past timelines and making the past timelines different. I really liked how the magic and him as a ghost worked in here, because he's a ghost, so how are they having a relationship and whatnot. I really liked how that worked. And yeah, I had a fantastic time. Definitely 5 stars. I will say this one's more centered on the couple. There are some side characters, of course, that play a part, but that's the one thing. Like, I've given Love Light Farms like 5 stars and such, but I will say like this balance with the side characters isn't the best in those ones. Where because this was so centered on the main couple and not the side characters, it didn't really feel off balance with the side characters. It really worked for this one. I loved how it ended. Like, just gave me the perfect vibes, and I absolutely ate this up. It did mention in the author's note that uh, she hopes will come back for another visit to the Department of Haunting and Spirits, because I heard a rumor there's a Reaper on the loose. And so I'm really looking forward. I hope that book does come to fruition, because I would definitely pick that up. I mean, I'm going to pick up everything she writes at this point. Even when I don't love the story, like, there's just something about B.K. Borison's writing that just hits the mark for me. So I finished day ones finally. I can move on from that one. And then I forget, um, let's see, I think this was day 5, I want to say. I read Scary Book of Christmas Lore by Tim Rayborn. Um, and illustrations are by Neil Evans. The illustrations are fantastic, super creepy, gave me the vibes. This is not the vibes I was looking for. I did give this 5 stars as well, because I'm not mad. Like, I was looking for that creepy like vibes. It's more factual. It's more telling you some origins of different folklore, monsters, and dark entities and such. So it's definitely more factual with the way it's written. Like, you definitely get some creepy vibes with some of the ones, especially the ones from Turkey. Those guys creep me out. Now, I can't pronounce the majority of the names in here, but the ones from Turkey definitely creep me out. And so you get a little bit of creepiness, but it's more like historical and informative, and telling you about the origins of these folklore and such. And I misspoke. Um, um, Yesterday I said Frau. I know I pronounced it wrong yesterday too. Gaud. Um, I thought she was the one that was originally a positive thing, and then Christian, the Christian church and such turned her negative. It was actually Frau Perchta. That was the one that was originally a positive. And some thought she was like a goddess. But yeah, then the so people viewed her favorably. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. And then when Christianity came about, they kind of like they didn't like that favorable view and turned her into something negative. But yeah, really, really good. It's mostly European um place countries and such, but like at the end it talks about Japan, which isn't a Christian country, but it talked excuse me, a little bit about them celebrating Christmas, and like this winter uh like woman that is a negative entity. And so, it did throw in some others, but it's mostly European countries, which makes it like Northern European. But yeah, I absolutely love this. This is a really fun one if you like folklore and the origins of different things. And it does talk about, St. Nicholas and like some festivals and such too. It's not just like these monsters and what. There's a little bit of other things thrown in there. So that was a 5 star for me too. And I finished that. I did read 2 more essays. It was only 10 pages, but by that time I was ready to go to sleep. But I did read 2 more essays in spending the holidays with people I want to punch in the throat. One was about a Christmas when she was like 12 or something, and she went from private school to public school. And it was the time Madonna was really big and such, and she didn't know anything, and she, got some jeans, and she didn't have to wear a uniform anymore. And like these girls kind of took her under her wing and like, yeah, you got to wear Guess jeans, and like those are appropriate and such. And so that Christmas, that's what she asked for, was a bunch of neon things and specific brands and whatnot. And then 6 months later, they were out of fashion anyway. So there's that one, and that was called Like a Neon Virgin and Guess Jeans and Swatch Watches. And then the dreaded annual Christmas photo, she talked about how her mom used to let's color coordinate and get these photos, but she didn't want to pay for like professional photos. So she would just try to get like family member to take a photo, but she wanted to pose in front of a fireplace and such, and she hated it. And now she's that mom essentially. So it's still fun. Like, is it really my thing? No, but I'm not hating it either. Like, I'm enjoying it, and I like the way the author writes and the narrative and such. And so it is funny and it's fun. So I am gonna continue just to kind of slowly work on this because, like I said, because it's essays and such, it's not something I think that if I try to fly through, I'm gonna enjoy. So there's that. I did start yesterday's pick, which is A True Christmas, which has The Christmas Note and The Christmas Town by Donna Van Leer. So I'm 22 pages into The Christmas Note. And this one, you have Gretchen Daniels, and I'm pretty sure her husband dies. Again, it hasn't said it outright, but I'm pretty sure he has died. He was in, I think, the army. And so they end up moving to be closer near her mom, and so she has a new neighbor. And at this point, um, we've met the neighbor and such, and the neighbor's mother's landlord drops by and is like, I don't know her name, but she's so and so's daughter, Ramona's daughter, I think. And she's like, I don't know. And she's like, like, is she married? Does she have kids? And then it's like, well, Melissa lives next door. Oh, that's her name. That's her name. That's her. And he basically dumps it off on to Gretchen to tell her neighbor that her mom dies. Her neighbor, she doesn't even know that her mom has died, and she has a week to go through get her stuff. And the whole premise of this, so that's on the back, is she's gonna help her neighbor go through her mom's stuff. So, and then they end up finding a note that reveals a shocking secret about the woman's past. But I obviously haven't gotten there yet. So I will continue this one tonight at bedtime. Like I said, I really want to play World of Warcraft with my husband today. So that one will be continued on. And of course, my husband and I will be reading Mystery for Christmas, edited by Cynthia Manson, again tonight. Tonight's story is called, let's see here. Like I said, my husband's not enjoying this one. So tonight is I Saw Mommy Killing Santa Claus by George Baxt. Um, so we'll have to see how that one goes. Because I didn't enjoy the first two, but I did enjoy the last one. And so I'm looking forward to reading this again. Even my husband's not loving it though. So we'll just have to see how this next one goes. And yeah, now we are on to day 7. This feels like it could be a contemporary romance. It's a little bit thicker, the right size paperback. So I'm hoping so, because out of what I have, that's what I'd rather listen to while I play. So let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. Again, I can open it. The hardest part is opening the wrapping paper. So, okay. I have a Marley staring at me. So let's see here. Okay. Okay. This is Nick and Noel's Christmas playlist by Cody Hall. So it is a contemporary romance. I am actually very excited about this. This was a last minute addition because I had it all picked out. And I had one that was just more wintry themed though. And I did a Pango order, and this I always, when I do a Pango order, I look to see what other books the sellers have. Because normally when I go on to Pango, it's to get a specific book. And so when I find that specific book, then I'll see what else the seller has, and if anything I'm interested in, kind of make it a little bit more worth it on the shipping. And this was one of those, and so when it came, I decided to add it to this year instead of saving it for next year. This one says, "This Christmas story just got remixed. Nick Winter's Christmas at home is going nothing like he planned. What was supposed to be a memorable holiday with his longtime girlfriend goes sour when he learns she cheated on him while he was overseas. At least Nick can rely on his usual shift at the family Christmas tree farm with his best friend, Noelle Carter, and her endless supply of Christmas tunes to lift his spirit. A night of fun together is just what he needs to forget about his ex. But then they kiss, and it feels so right. If Noelle can turn Nick's Blue Christmas merry and bright, this might be the last Christmas Nick spends with a broken heart. This year, they'll be rocking around the Christmas tree as a couple, as long as Nick's ex doesn't go standing under any mistletoe. So that sounds fun. It isn't super well. It's a little bit longer. It's closing in on 400 pages. So, um, yeah, 392. And there's actually a playlist at the back, so that'll be fun to maybe listen to at the end of it. And maybe if I get the audiobook, maybe there'll be music intertwined with it. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to check into it. So that is today's pick. So the lineup today is still 4 books. Like I said, the Jed Man book, I'm just reading a few essays at a time. But hopefully I can listen to Nick and Nora's playlist and then make some progress on A True Christmas Tonight. And then my husband and I will read the Advent Calendar one. We didn't get to Carl last night, so we're definitely wanting to read a little extra of uh, the Butcher's Masquerade tonight. And I still haven't been able to work in Wild Women in the Blues. Like I said, that one I think is going to end up being where that last week in December. I'm going to work on that one. But it's still on the list, and I'm still like, it's in my brain, and I want to get back to it. So I might sneak in a couple chapters before I tuck into this at bedtime. We'll just have to see. But of course, I'll be back tomorrow to let you know how today went. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.